Today's message is about less is more. And even throughout the day today, throughout the week, but especially today, and my heart's racing just because we just finished a beautiful cacao ceremony. And, the cacao gets you going, right? And I was the facilitator, so that gives a little bit more energy. But this is going to be connected to the message of your heart might be racing a little bit. You might have been like anxiously pulled towards something, perhaps your entire life, feeling like an energy of being pulled forward, like being magnetized towards something, but just constantly developing into more and more of that involvement in your life, right? And we get in a hurry, even as kids, like we want to be adults. And we're always like, I want to be that next step. I want that glow up. I want that, you know, you know what I mean, going forward. And I think you have finally reached a moment where you've surrendered just into the presence. And your shoulders are back a little more. It feels like a good destination. And in that destination, you got this message of less is more. And what I mean by that is we tend to overthink. We always, thinking, I need to be better. I'm not enough. I need this other certificate. I need to run this other program. I need to do this. I need to do that. I'll be able to create this art piece when I have the proper space and the proper tools. I'll be able to create this dance when I have a bigger space and the right, all the things. Like, we make excuses of putting obstacles in our way throughout our entire life. But when I say you've settled back and surrendered into that present moment, it's like you finally realized that it wasn't worth doing all that extra overthinking and trying, that the best of your work showed up sometimes by accident, sometimes by mistake, right? So, when you're just being a conduit of something bigger, bigger than you, where it was just so when we think we're not enough and the ego is, not there, and you're hit with humility and humbleness, is when the best stuff arrives. And then you're like, less is more. Less is more. And so my friend shows up to cacao ceremony to put on this sound bath, and it's like, I have this modest amount of stuff to work with. And then people ended up saying that it was one of the most powerful ones they've been to yet. And they've all been amazing. But this one, for some reason, was just so much more powerful today. And that less is more sometimes. So maybe you have even less of a crowd and it was more intimate and the energy was more collected and synergized, and it just hit. It just hit. And so even right now, setting up my camera, setting up my tripod, there is a ring light. It's not on. It's not working. And I was just like, again, less is more, because it's about the message. And sometimes the message hits, or our delivery, whatever it is that we're doing, hits sometimes and reminds us that things are never going to be perfect. Some of the best things in life are like, oh my gosh, me? Are you sure? Me? Or like becoming a parent. Oh, I'm not ready. Oh, and people are like, oh, you're never, that's just one of those things you got to go with. You're not, how are you going to prepare for that? There's things that you can do to make life more comfortable. And, what I talked about in the cacao ceremony, I'm just going to segue right into this, is when you're thinking about stability and structure, of co-creating with God, the universe, whatever you believe in. You do your part. You show up, you plant the seeds, you till the garden, you plant the seeds, you water, any kind of preventative stuff that you're going to, all the things that you're going to do. And then you walk away. You don't sit there and hold hands with the seeds. You don't sit there with your, are y'all growing? You walk away and you trust. And so that was a big part of the message too. If you are in this place of settling back, shoulders dropping, and surrendered in that present moment, you may have your heart beating a little faster because your body is trying to figure out what this new feeling is. And you are most likely, if you're in that place, you've been releasing a lot of fear. And there's a big point of when you are releasing things and you're letting things go and you're going to have these new empty places, fill them up with something so wholesome, so beautiful and light, like joy, happiness, confidence. But the biggest one right now that I'm seeing across the board, and even myself, I feel all this, I'm part of collective energy. Trust. Trusting yourself. And like, God, that makes sense, right? Like, you're letting go fear. Wow, to be able to let go of fear, do you know what that means? That means that you looked it in the eyes and surrendered to it and finally became friends with it enough to say thank you and let it go. Wow. But right away, because fear, overthinking, that devil energy, that darkness, that we all have the light and the dark in us, that yin yang, right? And we want to keep it in balance. We don't want to be too in the dark. You can be so in the light that your head spins. You want to be balanced, just like that masculine and feminine energy within. Nice balance. But that devil energy, that shadow side, if you don't face it, it wants to keep you in this loop. Wait, which side? But it wants to keep you in this loop, that karmic loop of cycles. Oh, you didn't learn the lesson? Let's do it again. And it's okay. It's okay. Nobody's judging you at how many times it takes you to learn a lesson. That's your karma. That's your path. That's your, you get what I'm saying? That's whatever you call it, whatever your belief system is. But it's just time, and time's irrelevant. And, you are who decides if something's an obstacle. Excuse me. You are who decides if you've learned the lesson yet or not, if you're going to change your life. And so, sorry, that burp took my attention away. Okay, here. That movement forward, that being magnetized forward, always trying to get into something. When I'm better, I'll be worthy of this. I need that every XYZ to happen. All of that opportunity, that abundance, that existence, that reality is always right around you. Like, it's palatable. Like, it's almost texture to me. And it can be to you too, but like, what I'm trying to say is, instead of you growing into something, it's always been right there, floating around you in your existence for you to allow it to grow in to you, where you embody that. And that's how dreams and manifestations and goal setting and all that actually happens, is that you finally align to the frequency, into the energy that it took to make that happen, and you believed in yourself to make that happen. That's the recipe. And wasn't that simple? And that's what I'm saying. We make things so hard. We overthink things so much because, you know, let's be honest, it's control. And, you know, what a deep dive to realize, because, you know, I never considered myself a controlling person. I mean, I think the majority of you, if you've ever been in my energy, is like, man, that girl flows. You know what I mean? But there's ways that I've been extremely controlling, and when I finally realized it, it was this deep layer that came from, well, sometimes we forget and we try to watch the seeds grow, or we try to help them along. And we don't just walk away and trust in some higher being that we've been co-creating our existence with, to do its part. It doesn't need your help. The universe and God, you know, they're not on a budget. I mean, yeah, you need to do your part of what reality you want. I was listening to somebody yesterday saying, set it in motion. You got to set it in motion. And I was like, well, that's, yeah, duh. Like, thank you for saying, like, because we forget the most simple and basic things. And I feel like when I'm with clients or when I'm here and somebody says, oh, I listened to what you said last night, and I'm like, isn't it crazy how it just always goes to the basic 1-2 buckle my shoe stuff? When we think it's going to be so deep. But it is. But, you know, it can be a tiny layer, but be a layer that you've been hanging on to forever. And so it was deep when you pulled it off. So trusting self, letting go of fear, and filling it up with trust. And so this goes back to the gut. This goes back to third eye, you know, and it being all connected, and supporting your gut trust with healthy foods that give nourishment, which are not going to be processed foods. It's not going to be your freezer section stuff that's been processed, meals that are already made. I mean, we actually do better with more vegetables and fruit and less meat even, but I'm not going to tell you, you know, that's your decision. But, you know, protein's important, but it comes in a lot of different ways. But if you get a healthy, balanced gut, you're going to have more knowledge, more intuition, more in tune with yourself. And that spinal fluid, you know, just takes it right up to the brain. The spine's the pump that takes the nutrients to the brain. And then we get the proper nutrients for thought here. And it works as a nice system. And what, you know, and I tell weight loss clients too, forget about the weight loss, get the gut healthy. They'll take the pressure off. Just get the gut in balance. Eat some sauerkraut. You know, get the sugars out, get the carbs out. And then the longer you go without them, mark on the calendar each day. Make it a game. Take all the pressures off and just make it a little game. And then once you have not had that processed foods and the gluten or the sugars, whatever it is that you've been leaving off, and then you have it when you like finally have a craving that just beats you down and you're like, okay, let's just get it out of our system, and you have it, it's not what you remembered. It's not as good. It doesn't taste as good. It doesn't feel good. You don't feel good. And then you actually get to see for yourself what I'm talking about. You feel it. You feel it, you see it, you grasp it. But always feel when you release stuff that's not serving you, always immediately fill it with something good. Because if you don't, guess what? Devil and dark energy will try to creep in there and put it right back in, and you will fall. And that's those patterns that we fall in. And that's why I work with the subconscious. That's why the subconscious is so important, because it makes up 88% of the brain. So it's the driving force. So that's why I pull the subconscious forward to make these tweaks, to make these preparations for you to hit the goals, because the willpower and logic and reasoning and all that is only 12% up here, and you realize that it's not getting the job done no matter how much you want it to. But here's another thing, talking about less is more. On this channel, I've been doing sessions basically. Like, I'd pick a topic, I'd channel a message just like I channel my sessions, because I've become a conduit. Like, I don't even remember. I mean, I have little tidbits of remembering what I'm saying right now, but I mean, overall, like, I could accidentally easily repeat myself twice, because I'm just like, it's just I'm not even like, I'm thinking, but kind of not. It's almost like a musician when they're performing. It's almost like they check out to check in of the conduit of everything coming through, and then you just become this open vessel. And I had a point to that. Oh, here's the point. That less is more. I realized that, oh, this is an important one. When I was speaking about always feeling like you got to be more, I'm not good enough, I need this, when I get to here, when I have this other degree, or when I promote to that level, whatever it is for you, when I become the team captain, I don't know, but whatever it is you're doing. Hold on. When you do that and you finally reach that point, you'll realize sometimes that you were overdoing, and that you could be doing less, and that the best part of you, there it is, the best part of you was a natural gift at birth. The thing that hits the hardest was put into you at birth. You didn't get a degree for it. You didn't get a certification for it. It was there. There. It was ancient knowledge, ancient memory in your cells, in your bones, in every fiber of your being, DNA coding, generational. It was there. The depth, the main course of the work, everything I do in my job is the stuff that comes in that conduit that is just natural flow. Like my hands get really hot, and people say that when I touch them, it can feel like they're working with fire. Like my hands just really heat up, and that's what my hands do when I'm around other people's electromagnetic energy, and we combined, it's almost like I create fire with my hands, and they pull energy. And it used to stick to me before I knew how to I can conduit in and I can conduit out, baby. You know, I know how to come home and take a salt bath. I know how to move water through me. I know how to, I know all the things. Sage, you know, taking care of stuff. And it's important when you're a healer and you know, there's beginning stages. And in my beginning stages, it was just all hearts and sunshine and love and, which is great, you know, but here's the thing, the more you open up to your true gifts and your purpose, um, darkness comes in. They see you progressing. And guess what? Each level is met with some darkness. Like you come here, it gets a little tougher. You come here, it gets a little tougher. It's just like going through grade school, you know? The bullies got harder. The older you got, they got more scary, you know? But there's nothing to be scared of if you learn how to protect yourself. But, you know, when you're working with people's energy, you got to be aware of that. And you stay in that light. And you stay ethical. You know, you keep all the goodness about you, but you learn how to put up protection, and you learn how to cleanse, and you learn how to take care of people. But anyway, the hands create fire, and it pulls energy like that's very deep out of people, and it'll unwind. And sometimes the tissue in their leg or their hip or something might feel like a snake uncoiling, and then it sends the tissue, like whatever that uncoil is, goes all the way down to the feet, and they're like, whoa. And I'm like, whoa, I know. And it doesn't always happen, but man, the time it shows up when you least expect it, just like the best things in life do. When you're not looking, when you're not pulling on it, when you're not expecting it, when you've set it down, thought, well, maybe it's not coming, or just forgot about it, and then poof, that's the way it works. And so, my gift is naturally being able to calm people with my voice. I have a voice that will put you in a hypnotic state without me even doing hypnosis. I don't even need to. At this point, I know how to say the right words to catch your suggestibility. And like, even as I look back on it, and even as a child, like my friends that would, you know, come over and slumber party, they would always finish the night with me telling a story, whether it was a ghost story or just some kind of story. But I love to tell stories because I guess that's maybe one of my gifts that I didn't even realize, is that I've been a channeler my whole life, and there's nothing dark about it. It's just a connection to some creative wonderfulness, in tune with God and angels, whatever it may be, like, but it's pulled from goodness. And I would put people to sleep just like I'm talking to you right now, because I guess I have a calm voice. I don't know what it is. I'm not bragging. But you have gifts too, and they're different than mine, and they're very meant to be celebrated in every part of who you are. But I'm just saying that's one of mine, is that I can calm people with my voice, and I don't even need to do hypnosis. And so guess what? Again, less is more. And then I was thinking about, why do I not have like more views? Like, I should be getting, like, right out the gate, people should have like 200 to 400 views right out the gate. And it was because it was trying to figure out how to categorize me, because I got Qigong, I got Tai Chi, I got hypnosis, I got, talking about just different messages and stuff. And so it didn't know how to categorize me. It didn't know how to find my people. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm doing hypnosis. So some people might click off, because we're in a grab and go society. People want to listen to this stuff while they're driving to work, and because that's a lot of people's only free time. And again, that's an obstacle that you created. We make time, sorry, I gotta move my legs. We make time and priority for the things that we want to. Point blank. And you can be like, no, I disagree with that. Well, no, it's a fact. Like, if something is a priority and important to you and something that you love, you will make time for it. If you want to learn something, you will make time for it. If you want to have a little hobby, you make time for it. And that means that there has to be negotiations with other things. That means there has to be sacrifices. But it goes back to what I was saying, embodying what was already around you. Stop waiting for the things to align for you to be right. You're the aligner. So you're the one that's deciding what's an obstacle. You're the one that's deciding what the karmic loop is. It's all just waiting for you to open up and be aligned, for it to come into you and meet you in a way that you're not going to throw it away or ruin it. And now let that sink in. And so that takes us back to trust, and then let the trust take us in a circle right on back to, what are your gifts? What are your natural gifts from birth? Maybe write them down. Start checking in with yourself and just saying, what all magical things do you have? What kind of things run through the family? What are some stories of some cool stuff that's been passed down? Right? And that's another thing. We aren't just sitting here living for ourselves. We aren't just born and have an existence and die. This DNA, this coding, this genetics, this tissue, this trauma, this joy, this knowledge, these gifts, it all gets passed down through your family. People, 200 years down the road from now that are carrying around your stuff. So everything you do matters. Every karmic loop, every dumb obstacle that you put in your way because of fear and devil energy that keeps you small and hesitation. Should I do this or should I do that? I don't know. That's devil energy. That's fear. It's illusions. It's stuff that you created to make excuses to keep yourself stuck in a place that you find more comfortable because you've been there for so long. So you know how to deal with that. And when you're ready for change and you're ready to look fear in the freaking eyes and smile at it and say, you know what? Thank you, fear, for protecting me in a way that what felt like kept me safe. Because at the time, I wasn't mentally equipped to open my eyes and see the reality of what was in front of me. So yeah, that's when you learn that you can love your shadow side. And that's how you become balanced in that yin-yang energy to have and hold the shadow just like the light. And that's when you surrender. And even now I'm going to put this towards weight loss. I tell my clients, thank the excess fat for protecting you. It was extra layers of protection, like having extra coats on in the winter against past traumas. Or, for me, I put on weight when I've stepped more into my masculine energy. I need more energy, I need more power, I need more drive when I'm collecting coins. You know what? And again, you got to find that nice balance. And so I actually posted a picture the other day of a high heels stepping on a man's shoe. And that was very significant for me. Is like, okay, cool. I got my masculine side out, but I don't think so. I'm a feminine. And she's going to shine. And she sees that you come in on top just a little too much. And it's her turn to step and say, I'm more powerful in my feminine energy because that's who I am. That's what I've chosen. You can be non-binary. You don't, I don't care. You don't have to have a choice, but watch that energy. You're playing both. Transgender, whatever, I talk about it with my clients. You're playing both. Some days you show up a little bit more this way. Some days you show up a little bit more that way. We all have it in us, and it's not to be judged. Sometimes it shows out a little bit more in another way than another, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just find that yin-yang balance, just like we do in everything. So anyway, thank the excess weight for protecting you, giving you extra power and energy when you needed it, and say, you know what, I'm at a point that I don't need it right now. I can let you go, and I know that you can come back and protect me if I ever need it again. But I've learned new ways to cope with life, or I've learned new ways to step into masculine energy without needing that. I found new ways to harness energy, perhaps. And maybe it's doing something that you really love, like riding a bike or taking a walk or ballet or qigong or skipping, jumping on a trampoline, swimming, whatever it is, whatever floats your boat. And so trust yourself. Remember to step into alignment, and you become the open vessel for that higher thing to come into you so you can embody it. Fill yourself up when you let things go, and know that if you finally were able to say that, my goodness, have I been controlling with things that I have no business trying to control, and you let it go, that means you surrendering and thanking the fear, thanking the things, the excess things that you're not needing. You can always pick them up if you want to on the way back, but I don't suggest it. But you won't be judged because time's not running out. You're only beginning, and it always gets better from here. So I love you. Remember, less can be more, less can be powerful, and you're everything that you need to be and more.